You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Hit the Floor After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Hit the Floor After Show.
No, I'm trying to have people jump in with me. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. Bing is for doing, and tonight we are doing the second to the last episode of Hit the Floor.
Give it to them.
Oh, okay.
Episode
9. Yes, over here. Hey, they already gave themselves away. Joining us in studio, well, I'll introduce you guys in just a second. I'm Alikona Bradford, and sitting next to me here.
What's up? It's Mark E. Allen.
Hey guys, it's Layla Sadney.
And Nick Purdue.
The loser. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
just saying. Anyways, I know the mess talk is starting already. So, like I was saying, we have two special guests sitting over on the couch. So, take a moment, enlarge in your screens, people, and take a look because we have Taylor Page and McKinley Freeman.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Hey. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
So usually when I start the show, I'll ask you guys questions to get to know each other, but I decided I was going to change it up a little bit. Instead, we're going to do it this way. So, McKinley.
What's up?
Let's just say, like, we're your boy, okay, and you're setting us up on a blind date with Taylor. Describe her to us.
Taylor is one of the most original people you'll ever meet. She's a sweetheart, and she's down to have fun, and she's a fantastic dancer. And the one thing you don't have to worry about is whether she's going to be honest with you or not, because she'll tell you the absolute truth. So, but she's beautiful. I mean, look at her.
So is there any, like, secret habits that, like, we should know about?
Well, what are you into? I don't know.
Chocolate and butter.
Is that code for? I'm so confused.
Okay, so then let me ask you. The world is a better place because McKinley is in it. Why?
McKinley is extremely focused. Nothing can deter this man from going to the gym. He goes like 3 times a day. No lie, that's why he looks like this, a god. And I feel like since the beginning, I've been able to talk to him about relationship stuff, being on set, nervous about lines. He's just always open, and it's just comfortable. He makes me feel better on those weird days.
You know,
that's why the world is a better place.
You know what, though? Just really quick.
I like how you brought it full circle, like we're at the spelling bee, and that is why the world is the best.
Pageant answer.
Did you know, P.S., just total random fact, but I like to Google and have good pictures or Bing things, and when I put your name in the search bar, you know, it finishes your sentence for you,
oh, nice.
Right? I'm like, McKinley and it's all McKinley's abs. I was like, really? Like, you have your own search for your abs now.
That is new information.
Kind of awesome. And by the way, you also have a lot of mugshots of random criminals that have your name too.
Yeah.
Just in case you wanted to know.
No relation.
Wait, really?
No relation.
Yeah, no, really.
Yeah, that's a different AfterBuzz.
Okay, so why don't we actually get into the show, guys? Right. I have a picture. This is not this specific episode, but I want to talk about your guys' characters' relationships excuse me. But we have a picture of you guys making out. If I can get Steven to pull that up. Yeah, it was your first, your only kiss. I'm just assuming he's probably still pulling it up right now, but there you go. Okay, so really studying this picture, though. How? sorry. I mean, how awkward is it to? I mean, do you guys rehearse that, or is it just the moment the camera's on? That's the first time you guys do the kissing scene.
Yeah, the moment the camera comes on.
No, we actually go in the trailer and totally
make out a few times, get a feel for it.
You're not supposed to tell the secrets, Taylor.
No, it's usually right. It's like action.
Yeah.
And we worked with Melanie on that specific episode, and she's like, just kiss already. So she's like, practice it. And we're like, okay.
Okay, but for you, I mean, you've been in soap operas, so I'm assuming you've had a few steamy scenes before in your life. But for you, Taylor, was that your first on-screen? Well, no, you kissed German a few times.
Yes.
But how?
Well, this is our first real.
Oh.
I'm joking.
Okay.
No, but seriously, like, how nerve-wracking was that for you?
It was interesting. It was like the world was watching my cherry get popped.
Wow. That's
That's an awesome quote. We'll remember that one.
Count on me to make things more awkward than they already are.
But,
Soundbite.
no, but you know what? How do you, as characters, because let's be real, like, you guys are two really attractive people, and you're obviously emotionally delving into what somebody else feels as your character. How are you able to separate yourselves from that situation?
Well, nothing says intimate like 200 people walking around and people fixing their
Exactly.
clothes and having to. So there's a professional element, but I think at the end of the day, you know, as two people living perspectives from two different characters, you're invested in that, and then with that comes the history that's brought them to that moment. And for me, that's the focus. It's not about. It's never McKinley the actor is never more important than Derek the character when we're talking about something.
And we've always had, obviously, an undeniable chemistry, like our chemistry read, remember?
Yeah, that was fun.
He lifted up his shirt in my well, it was your read, but whatever. He followed me to the corner and I like was walking away in the scene, and then I turned around because I thought we were done, and the whole room was laughing. I'm like, why are they? And he's behind me with his shirt off, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun.
So it's been fun.
But it is, like you were saying, it's easy to separate because we are just buddies that know this is our job. This is, you know, a professional setting. And it's true, when we're on set, people are farting, texting, talking, singing, laughing,
Seriously.
eating, crunching. Like, crunching, what does that mean? I don't know.
We'll just go with it.
Just go with it. Crunching their food. There we go. And so.
But yeah, and again, the thing is when action's called, it's like we're both prepared and we're both in a place where it's like, and again, like when we shot this scene in the elevator, like literally we spent 14 hours in an elevator.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like literally that was where we were the whole day. So it was like there's this forced intimacy anyway. But it was fun. It was and you know, that happened, I guess.
So I know these guys know that I kind of spent a lot of the season kind of like bagging on your character. No offense.
It's all good.
But
She was.
Something I'd read that you'd said in an interview once was about characters as far as, you know, in any good story, there's a relationship of you and the character, and you kind of identify with it within like a piece of you, if you will, right? So what part of you can identify with the vulnerable side of Derek, and what part of you can identify with the cocky douchebag side?
Well, boy, there's two. I wonder which side she prefers. I think the intimate, more vulnerable part is. I think there's a part in all of us that wants to be loved, right? Who doesn't want to be loved? Who doesn't want to be appreciated for who they are? You know, you spend enough time in the world with your Halloween costume on, pretending to be somebody. You want to at some point meet somebody where you can just take that mask off and be who you are, and I think that's everybody. And I think the part that's more of the cocky or whatever is that, you know, if you're good at what you do, sometimes you have to be a little bit different. I mean, sometimes you have to be that confident. Sometimes you have to show people how good you are. If you think about some of the great people in entertainment, like people might think Jay-Z's cocky, but man, rhyme with him. You know, that's why he's cocky, because he proves it. And I think that's the thing about Derek, is that he's beginning to learn how to prove it. And I think that's the part where, you know, it's a bit of a development, but it's still fun to watch. And you know, from week to week, I feel like I'm doing my job. If one week somebody says they love me, the next week somebody says they hate me. Okay, cool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Diving into like a brand new season, a whole new character. How soon, you know, from episode 1 till 10, did you guys feel like you kind of found your groove? Like starting with a brand new character, you know, if you watch Seinfeld, like the pilot, George Costanza's like, you know, he's different from, you know, he's a lot more animated as far as the season goes.
Right. Well, I would say that. I mean, the way it was shot. I mean, we shot the pilot, and we had a long time before we shot the second episode. So that's one thing. But I think again, you know, if you put yourself in any situation, the world around you might change, but there's still basic things that don't change, and that's the desire to be loved, to be appreciated, and those kinds of things. And that's expressed in different ways, based on where you are in conversations with different people.
Right.
So I think the humanity behind it is always constant, but how it expresses itself depends on what's happening. Like if she's turning me down all the time, how that might be frustration.
Right.
You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like, I mean, I naturally am evolving as Asha's. Our lives parallel in a lot of ways. It's freaky sometimes. Art imitates life, or life imitates art, however that goes. But we've gone through all these different experiences, and it's this new, exciting world, and there's temptation, and there's, you know, I'm getting different types of attention, and it's like juggling it and balancing it and staying or remaining true to who I started off doing this whole thing as, but also, I mean, maintaining your integrity, but also, you know, coming into your own. And so it's like we naturally, Asha and I, that's weird, are growing together and going through this whole wave.
Well, because you guys are both, in a sense, breakthrough artists, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, you're now in the spotlight personally, but at the same time, too, she is as well. But as a new artist, and as any artist or entertainer, I feel like there's people that either love or hate you, so you get a little bit of both. So how's it been for you dealing with maybe some of the constructive criticism that you've gotten?
Oops. My favorite, well, I get a lot of, like, I got a comment that was like, you have no I can't even say it. You have no sex appeal. You're boring. Can you get off my screen? And then you have like someone that's like, I'm gonna give you a baby, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like, well, that's fun. And then you get like, oh, well, that's mean. But it's just, I mean, you take it and run. I feel like, you know, people are gonna talk whether you're winning an Oscar, whether you're on a show, whether you're not doing shit. Whoops, I said shit. I said it again. But it's kind of, I think it's all part of the territory. You recognize that with great success comes great
responsibility.
Responsibility and repercussions. What?
I think that's from Spider-Man, actually.
Well, I haven't watched that recently, so I'm just gonna say I made it up.
Yeah, that sounds good too.
But
I think the great thing that she's saying is that at the end of the day, as an artist, you do your job, but you're not responsible for somebody else's experience. Like that's you. Like I don't know. You could be watching a show and they had the worst day ever, and you know. Yelena might remind you of somebody you wanted to knock over at the grocery store. No, I hate that show. I hate that girl. But, you know, you could have came from a wedding and been in love, and now there's something there that you see. You know what I mean? There's like those kinds of things dictate how people view things, and you can't control those things.
And I also remember the whole reason why I'm doing this. It's as much as it's, I mean, I'm vulnerable and everyone gets to see all these, like, you know, these emotions and my weird mannerisms. It's also, I've been wanting to do this my whole life, and I do it out of a cardboard box. So to know that other people are going to have an opinion about whatever you do in life, it's sometimes it's motivating, because it's like, I'm going to prove myself, but at the same time I'm proving myself to myself and how I deal with these things and continue on. So it's, you can't let those things control. You know what I'm trying to say?
At the end of the day, if someone's talking about you, they're taking the time to talk about you. That's the way I see it, whether it be negative or positive.
Like, for real, if you love the show or hate the show, you got to watch it to have an opinion. So
exactly. Just like people are watching it.
No, exactly.
Exactly. So let's finally dive into the show and talk about what happened, because there was a lot of stuff going on tonight. We opened up with a really cool dance scene. I have to say, it was actually one of my favorites. I liked the music, the choreo. I felt like there was more. Not that you guys don't have chemistry, but I felt like I could see the chemistry more. And I don't know if that was camera angles.
It was
or
a lot
what
more
it was.
intimate.
Maybe that's what it was.
I mean, just the stage. We were at the Grove. Yeah, it was.
I don't know. Anyways, guys,
it was the hair. I think it was the hair.
Is that what that was?
Was it like Halloween themed or something?
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking, like Halloween time.
Yeah, someone did tweet, "What's up with this zombie thing?"
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Zombies are everywhere these days, man.
I don't know.
It was very sexy, but it was also very freaky at the same time. It was weird, but I enjoyed it.
You're telling us a lot about yourself.
All right, so speaking of freakiness, let's just talk right away about. Sorry, I gotta go there. Let's Sloan and Pete. I knew. I've been talking about this moment. Yeah. I knew Asha was gonna walk in on them eventually.
Ooh, you have been talking about it.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Poor PG eyes.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. But you know, I mean,
no one wants to walk in on their parents, but even that situation is even like.
That's just awkward.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
They could have been in a different position. There could have been Jello and farm animals. Like, it's not that bad.
That really, it wasn't you. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
now that we know McKinley's fetishes, okay.
Jello.
And farm animals, apparently. Okay, so anyway, they're doing their business or whatever. I am a little bit, I understand where Sloan is coming from, but I feel like I'm a little disappointed because obviously power to her for being in control of the situation, but she's not letting her emotional guard down. And here's Pete trying to earn his way back into her life. And she's just like, yeah, let me just rub you up and change the subject and make it all better, you know? I don't know. That's just my personal opinion about it.
But she's still kind of hiding some things too, which is kind of interesting that after she just learned this lesson.
Right. Okay, did you catch that one segment, though? There was a moment where right when she called it off, she looked at herself in the mirror, and it was like a weird shot of her almost reflecting on the her maybe from years ago.
I thought so, too.
I don't know. I feel like there's
That's
a lot.
deep.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe I'm just making
Was she
that
thinking,
up in
like,
my mind.
what am I doing? Why am I going back to this situation with this guy? You know, like...
I don't know if there's a deja vu moment in
don't
there
know.
as far as what's going on. Let's talk also, too, a little bit about the morale of Asha, because I feel like she's changing a little bit as well, too. I mean, German calls it. He's talking about her getting sucked into this world. Uh-oh. What was that?
No, I mean, continue.
It was a thought of some sort. No, but I mean, German calls it. I feel like... I mean, I see a change. I don't think it's as huge as maybe he's making it out to be, but maybe that's just his point of view as far as like the old Asha releasing information and using it to win.
Well, I mean, like, you know, like this is a brand new forum that she's in. It's a brand new arena, you know, no pun intended. But and he doesn't know how to even navigate it, you know, and so like he doesn't know how to help her, and he doesn't know like what he's doing, if he's like negatively affecting her or if it's positively affecting her. You know what I mean? And so now he's saying, okay, well, she's acting different because this isn't how she used to act back in college, or you know, so it's like this life, it's fast and you know it's glitzy and glamorous, and so you know like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and so like he feels that she's just falling into this devil lifestyle.
You know, I'm gonna say this. I was a little upset at Asha at the end when I felt like she kind of flipped it on German when he was breaking up with her, and she's like, "I thought you were gonna fight." I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
The guilt.
Exactly. I'm like, what? Come on. But okay, in real life, Taylor, would you pick the Derek or would you pick the German?
Ooh, I always root for the good guy, the underdog, but there's nothing like a secure, confident man, I have to say. I don't know. I can't answer that because German and Asha have a lot of history, and they've been through so much together, and they have a foundation. And then Derek is this hot new, it's just the newness and the temptation and the mystery and it's tough. I mean, what girl?
Please go on.
I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to really give you a good and solid answer because when faced with, I mean, you have your boyfriend from college and then you have Kobe Bryant hitting on you and he's this amazing play. I mean, naturally you might just be a little bit flattered, like, oh my God, Kobe Bryant, hi. You know, so.
But he goes about it in kind of like a cocky.
He does. But
know.
she's like, I see through all that.
Yeah. I want to help you. Let me help you.
You have a very specific opinion about Derek.
I do. Look, have you not watched the other
I mean, my gosh. I mean, you don't like when his shirt is on. You don't like when his shirt is off. I mean,
hey, I never complained about his shirt being off.
Okay.
I mean,
I did.
Yes, actually, he did quite a bit.
It's all good, man. Well, you know what he hasn't complained about yet? That was Rob beating him one-on-one last Saturday.
And coincidentally, Rob's shirt was off the entire game too. So that, you know, come on, dude, you gotta put something on.
I didn't get that piece. That's a little different.
Once you watch the video, you'll see. You'll be like, okay, like this is way too much. Like it was. You know.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
You know what?
It's all right, man. You did good. You did good.
We're actually going to preview that game next week, so you guys make sure to tune in for that one. And later on today, I'll show a few clips, a few pictures. In case you guys don't follow me on Twitter, you'll see some of the live action. We were actually really disappointed that you didn't make it to the game. So
I know.
Yeah, I heard there was a challenge. I didn't even look for my shoes. I was like, nah. It's not even. I don't even need to prove a point. It's all right.
Oh, I mean, if you guys want to reincarnate the situation,
I mean,
y'all can play again.
I can play barefoot.
I'll be the cheerleader.
Yeah, do it.
It's awesome.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe like play like a game of horse or something.
Yeah, something to where, you know, I don't have to do a whole lot of running. I was doing a lot of running.
Is that what's going on? He's a little short and breath.
By the second shot, I was done.
Let's just pick a game you're good at. It doesn't even have to be basketball at this point. Like whatever.
Checkers.
thumb war. I don't know,
physical.
whatever
Yeah,
works.
nothing physical. Minesweeper. We can do Minesweeper, and it'll be great.
Sounds exciting. Can't wait for that.
Exciting. So anyway, I'll actually bring up the pictures later on, you guys, in news and gossip, but I want to get back to talking about this show. Since we have so much good stuff going on, I want to talk about Yelena a little bit too, because
The puppet master.
Man.
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
seriously?
Set
But
her
kind of a
man up.
do-gooder at the same time.
She's like a walking oxymoron.
I think that was like the first time I've seen her like really care and like, or seem like she actually genuinely cared and like trying to help out Raquel.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
But I'm sure she got some sort of satisfaction just about the situation in general.
There's some like backstory to why she really wanted to do that, you know. But it was nice to see her have a heart.
You know, I will say this one thing about the show. It does always take a direction that I'm like, no. and that moment happened when Jesse was in bed with the dude.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait.
Whoa.
When the guy was like, are you willing to do anything? I was like, wait. What?
Is this happening right now?
Right, what?
I think we all had the same reaction when we got the script. We're like, you didn't.
But it was only 4%.
Yeah, but
Like,
still, that's a lot of
yes.
money.
But
Okay, it is a lot of money,
still.
but is it really? Because the dude was damn near 7 foot. I mean, right? You know, big black
I don't
man.
even want to think about it.
Sitting behind you.
Right.
Right. You know, and only 4%. Right? Come on,
Yeah.
dude. You've been in the game
Straight
long enough.
guy, what really straight guy would do that? Like
For
go
money?
that much
I
money?
mean, I don't know. But here's the thing. Okay. This is what I'm trying to figure out about the whole situation, though. Okay, so obviously it was planned, right? With Yelena, the whole bed scene, everything, right?
Yeah.
Was this dude really supposed to be gay, or was he just doing it for the cause?
I think he was probably
He's
really gay.
I think he was really gay.
Well, that would just be,
Or bi.
he would be really committed to the plan.
Yeah.
But boy, he's going over the top for the
Yeah,
plan. He
like-
likes
Yeah.
his plan. You know?
The willingness is a little questionable. The
Yeah.
willingness to be like, sure,
Yeah.
go ahead and put it in there. You know what I mean?
His eyebrows were arched a little too, you know, like. So.
Shut up. No, they weren't.
No, they were not. Are you talking about Jesse or?
No.
Okay.
Baller. I was gonna, but I'm not.
You know, okay, but the other no, she didn't moment is when Yelena was the one who was planting the drugs in Terrence's whatever she did.
When he was gonna propose to her.
I know. And I mean, I don't know if you guys heard me in the theater, but as soon as he's putting the ring in, I'm like, oh. And then he finds the bottle. I was like, what?
Why did she get rid of the evidence?
Duh, right?
Because she wanted to
But-
probably use it again.
But seriously,
Smart.
what would you? No, seriously though, what would you do if your girlfriend seriously set you up like that?
I would dump her.
If you were in the NBA,
I mean, look at
If I was in the NBA, then I would, you know,
I mean, the
dump
stakes
her.
of that. The stakes of her.
But okay, what? Maybe you guys can answer this question. What was the purpose of that? He was about to trade, not trade, but she had to bargain a deal.
She wanted to keep
I'm
him there.
confused.
She wanted to keep him in LA because she wanted him with her.
Right?
Just to keep things vague and clear. She wanted control of the situation.
And I think even the owner says you got what you want. Terrence stays in LA, right? So I think
Right.
that's
Yeah.
But
There's a
what
lot
was,
to
I'm
it.
like, okay, but what was in it for
Yeah.
Oscar? Confusion.
What did he give
Yes.
her? What did he remember? He gave her that envelope.
Oh, you know what he gave her?
Yes.
Happens in the episode.
Now, do you guys think that, okay, this is going a little into like future territory or whatever, but obviously we saw Mia give the microphone. And first of all, when she walked into the office, I'm like, what are you doing, stupid? Like, I would have had a second recording of that one as a backup. Just me.
I thought, yeah.
She
Yeah.
might have, though.
But she was so
But I'm
well
thinking-
rested now. You could tell she's.
Well,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. She didn't look as
Sleeping over at Sloan's did her some good, I guess.
Right? Right? No, but okay, do you guys think, because you made a really good prediction last episode as far as her being dead, do you think that she's the one that gets found in the river?
I really do. I
It
would stick
can't
with
be
it.
Kyle, right?
It's not Kyle. Well, no.
I see facial expressions over on the couch.
Is okay. Is what about if it's a girl who we like? Is it someone who
Well, I don't know who you like, so.
is it someone who has had a speaking part?
You'll be disappointed. We'll just put it like that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. That's about all we can.
That's all we can say.
Yeah.
Were they black or white? I'm just gonna throw
Elena?
that out. I mean, you know.
Elena.
No, it's not going to be Elena. There's no way. I seriously doubt it.
You'll be surprised.
You'll be
Really?
And you'll be
surprised
disappointed.
and disappointed.
Well, I mean, we know it's not you,
Wow.
obviously. There would be no show.
They're kind of hinting that it was you.
Unless like it's a soap opera and they can
little
bring you
bit.
back to life next time.
Asha's twin sister comes back.
I don't know. I want to know who it is. I honestly think it's Mia, personally.
yeah.
I think she was kind of...
But she gave him what he wanted. I mean, it's over. Why still?
Because she still has a mouth on her. You don't know, and you don't know if she has a second copy
That
of
is
that.
true.
You don't know if she was killed.
That is
Well,
true.
that's true, too.
But
Anyways.
I'm
Just
sticking
putting
with it.
stuff out there.
All right, so I guess moving right along, let's talk about Kyle, because she was with Home Dude from
Having
the
fun.
internet.
Yeah.
Yo,
Dude,
Benny Wise, right?
what?
What's his name? Benny Wise.
Was it? I thought it was Vaughn something or
Yeah, I
other.
think it's Vaughn something or other.
That's what I said. Vaughn Wise.
He's a terrible host. What? You were kidding.
But basically, when he's like the hip internet guy,
Yeah.
you know, and so he has a lot of money, and we think he's dumb because I thought he was just like a bumbling idiot, you know, and she was gonna take advantage of him, and he was like, oh my God, I get to, you know, sleep with this amazing girl,
Yeah.
and he turns out to be Mark Zuckerberg light, and this
Right.
kid knows
Well, I
everything
mean,
about
come
her.
on. If
Everything
you're
about
like
her.
an internet dude, why wouldn't you Google her to
Of course,
see
he's
her
gonna
video?
have that. He's gonna
I mean,
know everything
plenty
about
of people Google people without being an internet millionaire.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, oh, hey, I saw that.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out. They still haven't, and I don't know. Maybe you can tell us this. Will we find out who this person is that's in prison that she's trying to bail out?
Huh.
I mean, you don't have to tell me who it is. You can just tell me if we find out.
I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of questions that hopefully get answered at some point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much.
This is
a
it's,
great
it's
you guys can
really
say.
this is one of the
it's
more
disappointing.
difficult.
I'll just keep saying it's disappointing.
It's gonna be surprising.
Okay, so what I can say is our guest pretty much staked this episode. And
Listen,
not giving
I'm telling
anything
you,
away.
this is like one of the more challenging parts of being part of a show that's written so well is that there's so many things, and so like I have to I'm not like I'm biased toward this room. I have to answer these questions the same way to my mom and my sister who have probably called me already asking me the exact same questions.
you know what? Actually, now that you bring that up, I want to ask you, because weren't you booked for another show, Devious Maids, while you booked this show?
I was.
How did you decide between the two which one you wanted to?
Well, one was recurring, so would have been recurring on Devious
Oh.
Maids, and this one was like a lead series regular. So the choice was made, but I was hoping that there'd be a chance where I could do both, but just scheduling wise, it wouldn't
He was
allow.
like, "Oh, I want to work with Taylor Page." So
You know, I was kind of hoping for that answer,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'll take that
Yeah.
one too.
I mean, the screen test I had with her was so funny. Like, it's so
Let's
funny.
talk about it.
It's funny. Well, like before I even go in the room, like by this time she has this Taylor Page Asha role booked, and I'm out there and we're like doing all, you know, there's the business part of it all, and she sits down right here like she is now. She's like, "Are you nervous?" Oh my God, I'd be so nervous. Is it like real for you right now? I'm like, you know, it's just pieces of paper and a pen. I mean, then she kept talking. I was like, "I'm sweetie, you know what? I'm gonna go outside so I can like remember what my words are." But it was so much
no,
fun.
you were like, "Do you want to run lines outside? Don't try to act like it was
No,
me
listen, man.
all alone trying to bother you."
And there it is.
So, Taylor, tell us about your audition. Did you go in initially as an actress or as a dancer, and they pulled you and asked you to come read lines?
No, I went in as an actress.
Ooh, so tell us about the process, because when we were talking to Kat, she had mentioned an encounter she had with you, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I'm so nervous."
Right
and Kat
away.
was like, "But you're the only one auditioning for Asha."
Well, no. Okay, so I started auditioning in January. It was my my last semester of my senior year in college. So I was literally simultaneously finishing college while I was starting this audition process. And they kept calling me back. I went on, literally I had like 12 callbacks. And I was like, oh God. Oh God. And I didn't want to tell anybody either. Like I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my brother. Like I get really weird about auditions and don't tell anybody. And I just kept going in and kept doing all these privates and taking class and blah, blah, blah. And but what was cool for me, because I want to be such a good actress, and it's like it's challenging, and I've danced my whole life. I feel like I've mastered dance, but now like acting as a whole, it was cool because I didn't get to dance for them till like the third audition. So I was like, yes, they see something, yay.
Yeah.
And then I guess, what was it, in April, I started to test with everybody else, and immediately, like, I bonded with Kat, I bonded with Valerie, and then they end up being on it, and we're like, yes. Like, I remember seeing them, or there was like a press release, and I'm like, yay, the ones that I liked. And but it was cool because when I tested for the role, I was the only one testing. So I got a little spoiled. Like, I mean, in the future, if I'm ever on a show, I hope. It was weird because I wasn't up against like 6 other. I was like, well, Taylor, if you drop the ball, it's your fault because there's nobody else here. So, so that was. I was like, okay, we're competing. We are, Taylor and I are competing against each other, and then I booked it, and then we shot the pilot, and then I graduated college 2 weeks later. Literally.
Nice. What an amazing graduation present.
I know. You don't understand how it felt to walk across that stage, because I was literally, I'd be studying my lines, and I'd be like, can someone test me? I have a philosophy final on Monday. Like, please just ask me what Foucault, like, asked me his philosophy on religion and love or whatever it was. And so it was just, I was all over the place. But I was like, wow, I did it.
Wow.
Yeah, no, she juggled it masterfully. Like, she had all kinds of stuff going on, but she was studying. She was on point, you know, for the stuff that we shot for the pilot. It was fun to watch. And then, of course, all of us got to go to her graduation party.
They came, and we turned up.
So wait, okay. Like, would you guys recommend then for anybody who is in the entertainment, let's say they live in another state and they want to come move to LA or what have you, what emphasis would you have on getting your college education before doing that?
Man, I took a different path. Like,
Right.
I have a bachelor's in finance and an MBA in marketing, so like I was going a different direction. But I would say that, man, while you're still where you are, if you have a desire to go to school, do that. But then also start to get your feet wet in acting. I mean, there's community theater, there's theater in schools and stuff like that. And if you have a passion for it, then, you know, do it. Or you could just, I mean, there's no rule for anybody, but I think get started where you are is the most important thing. You know what I mean?
But do you think that education has helped you as far as furthering your career and being smart as far as managing as an actor?
I think that's a good question. I think what it did do was I put me in a position where I was working a job that was a really good job, but it wasn't great for what I wanted my life to be.
You didn't love it.
I didn't love it, exactly. So I wasn't passionate about it. So being in that situation where I knew what I didn't want to do, it helped me be more specific about what I did want to do. I mean, and you know, look, life is like a sum of minutes. Like, we have a bunch of minutes, and it's our responsibility to make the most of them. And like, if you're doing something you don't want to do, choose to do something differently.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like college taught me time management and juggling tons of things at once, because I worked like 3 jobs, and I was in acting class, and I was in like, it was all, but I was all over the place. But what I really, really, really take into consideration is finishing something that you start. So whether you go to college or you don't, it's just like learning how to be persistent and study. And it was just to know that you did something and you finished it and you did it for yourself. And I learned how to communicate and how to, you know, just, I was a communication major, so I learned how to communicate.
Hey, me too.
It was, come on, it was such a BS major.
Yeah, you know it was, but you're totally right as far as being able to articulate yourself.
To articulate, and I'd have like, took like a debate elective, and I learned how to, even if you remember, but you'd have, let's say, the topic was abortion. You don't agree or you do agree, but you learned how to argue your point just by researching, just like simple like maneuvering in life. But
I took communication between the sexes, and that was awesome.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But sometimes then you'd have this theoretical communication thing where you're like, I couldn't tell you anything. I'd be sitting in class on Facebook, not gonna lie. I mean.
So going back to Hit the Floor and talking about auditions and all that stuff, you originally auditioned for Terrence.
Yeah. I went in for, again, like, there's this great void of time between the first audition and the call. I auditioned for it in January and then got a call back in the middle or end of March. You know, like, oh, hey, remember that thing? And at that time, I'd already shot Devious Maze. I was like, I already got a job, but yeah, I'll go to this. Why not? So I go in there for the callback as Terrence. I go and do my thing. It was a lot of fun. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm walking to the parking lot, and this producer comes running through the parking lot, like, hey, they want you to read for this other role. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And this time it's like, it's like 4:45 on a Friday in Santa Monica. And I'm just thinking, like, I just want to get through traffic. Like, let's just do this. So they give me the pages, I look over them, and I end up testing and booking the job and all these other things. But yeah, it's one of those things, again, it's like, you got to roll with the punches. You never know what's going to happen. But if you're, I think Bruce Lee says be water. You know, like water flows. You know, he says be water.
Swim with
So
the current.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, you got to go with it. You just never know what's going to happen. You know?
Wait, this is random, but can I just add? I remember you being like, "So what are you doing after the audition?" I'm like, "I'm gonna have a margarita." What are you doing? I'm going to the gym.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
I just had to add that because
No, when my manager called me and was like, "Yo, you know, congratulations, you booked a pilot." He's like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna finish making these bacon and eggs, and I'm gonna go to the gym like I plan on doing anyway."
Always.
So,
That's
but
your
yeah,
life.
it's
Dedication.
fun. Yeah.
I have a Twitter question here for you guys. Or this one's for Taylor. From my Keaton 12. Hope I said that right. All right. If
Hey girl, hey, or hey boo, hey. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a female. It's actually two. It's Mika and Maikia.
Okay.
So if she really loved him, if Asha really loved German, why didn't she just tell him to begin with, so it wouldn't be so hard to trust her?
That's a spicy, zesty one.
Yeah.
I think they obviously have. It's very clear that they've run into some issues. That they are taught. He's trying to hold on to what's left of what they've already established, and he's trying to figure out where he fits in her new life. And she's also trying to maneuver her way and do well in it with all these things coming at her from her dad, her mom, Yelena, different situations. And I think she, out of fear, she just thought that. You remember there was a scene where she's like, let's get something amazing, like we deserve something bigger. Like her guilt was eating at her. And so I think she thought by overcompensating and like doing sexy things and, giving him that hope, it was like her own, like suppressing her own guilt for their relationship, if that makes sense. I think that when you really love someone, you don't want to hurt them. I don't think that her intentions were to hurt him, but she was dealing with, wait, I have these feelings for someone else, but I've had these feelings for you Asha and German have been together for 3 years. Why do I feel like this, like so conflicted? And I think she was dealing with that, she didn't want to almost accept that for herself. It was like, wait, this is really happening. I like somebody else, but I love you, but I don't know what this means, and I kind of want to try it, but I don't want to lose you. And so just trying to find that balance, I think, is why it was like, okay, I'm just gonna act like it didn't happen. He kissed me. No, I didn't kiss him. He kissed me.
Yeah.
I have a random question.
Yeah.
I had read something. They do those 10 things you didn't know about Taylor on VH1. So, what was the situation exactly with you, the dream, and the chicken cutlet?
Oh,
that sounds
my God.
kind of mortifying.
Amazing. I'm like, okay, so they had us do all of our little solos. And do you want me to get up and show you what was going on?
Absolutely. Do
Wait,
it.
can I with this?
As long as you fit in the frame, do it.
Oh, maybe. It might not. It's a lot of bouncing.
Oh.
But I was dancing. I was twerking it. Wait, what am I?
You can stand right here. We have a mic right here for you.
Oh, okay. So I can take this off?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
I'll turn it on for you.
I can't believe I'm actually going to do this.
I think you're gonna be looking up there though. No?
Where?
No, it's this
Right here?
camera.
Oh, there's another one there. Okay.
Or
never
I
mind.
guess.
So
right
we're
now.
Where do you want me to
situating
look? Here?
All right.
Nick,
okay.
can you frame it?
Oh, so you're gonna be this one. Just kidding.
All right. So far, I have no idea what's going on, except for we're having a live demo right now.
I don't
So
know if I
please
can-
excuse us while we figure this one out
that
really
one.
quick.
Okay.
So, anyways, how's your day?
Oh, just chilling. Everything's good. I got no complaints.
Awesome. Do we have everything set to go?
Is that-
our
is that-
engineer?
Zoom it out, Nick.
Okay, so
Okay,
while they're
so-
figuring out, why don't you tell me, what was your most embarrassing moment on set? If not this one, maybe another one.
Let's see. My most embarrassing moment on set. I don't really. That's a good question. I don't necessarily know if I have one. I think the most embarrassing moment. The first time we shot, my first day working on the second episode. There's a scene where I walk into the room where all the girls are trying on their stuff and everything, and so I wasn't aware of the state that everyone was going to be dressed. So they say action, and I'm walking, and I got this basketball, and I walk in, and I'm like, okay, guys, I'm sorry, I forgot my lines. I got yeah. So that was
There's, like, booties and
it was
boobs
just
everywhere.
body parts. I was like, okay, wait a second,
Where am I?
Okay, wait, I have lines.
It's a tough day at work.
I know, man. That was Dear Diary.
So do we have Taylor framed?
Yep, you're ready.
Oh, let's get the demo
So you
on.
guys want to know what happened with the dream?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
So I'm over here twerking like that.
Wait,
Can you see me?
boys may not know what a chicken cutlet is.
I'm gonna
move the camera down?
Okay, sorry.
I'm gonna get to it. I'm doing it slowly. So I was twerking like this, blah blah blah, and I'm thinking I'm all cute because Daisy's like, you gotta be sexy. You're mad at German.
Daisy's our director.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem.
Great. I'm just so good at this.
You
And
got it.
That's
thank
why he's
you,
here.
McKinley.
That's why he's here.
And I'm twerking and twerking, blah, blah, blah. And then literally, so chicken cutlets are these things you put in your boobs and they make them look all perky and perfect and like pushed up. And I'm dancing and then it falls out. And the dream starts cracking up. And the entire time, the dream's like sitting there kind of like, is this over? Like, he looks so bored. Then, of course, my boob, I'm like trying to act like, yeah, these are real. Hey. And then, of course, it comes out and he starts laughing finally. I'm like, well, at least that made you smile because you've been looking at me like you're boring. So, yeah, that's what happened. It went flying. It literally went flying. It was like at his shoe. And I'm like, cut.
That's probably one of the more embarrassing things that can happen to a girl. Like, you're always worried
No,
about
it was
that kind of stuff.
terrible.
Like,
I was in Vegas and that happened to a girl in the pool.
That's why you don't wear those at the pool.
It's like,
That's why
who's
you
this?
don't get
Who's cutlet?
Get in the pool in Vegas.
Who's cutlet? Don't worry, I have them too.
That's awesome.
Wow,
Should I sit
that's
down now?
amazing. You're more than welcome to sit down if you like. So I had read something, McKinley. This was kind of probably an older story about you, and that once upon a time you had gone back home and you were installing a flat screen for your grandma, and then you came on TV. Is that true?
Yeah. I was I had just bought my. I think I just either something happened where my grandmother we had just got her a TV and I was like hooking it all up and everything, and then I was doing an interview for the local paper, and then my grandmother was in there watching soaps or something, and the next thing I know, she was like, "You're on TV." It was like my baby. Oh, let me get my Polaroid. No, but it was cool. You know, she was really excited, and it was that whole weekend was really cool. I mean, I went home to my grandfather was like, I think at the time he was turning like 77, 78. So I flew home to take him to a football game for his birthday, and when I go home, I'm always like, you know, they don't do any like they're good about fixing things, but when I'm there, it's like, oh, we have this list. Look at you. So it's like, so it's cool for me. I love it. You know, of course, when I'm there, I like go to the gym and I have my cousins.
Go to the gym. Notice how he put that in there.
I do. Like I learned it from like my dad and my grandfather. I mean, my grandfather used to get up and run miles every morning. So anyway, I go home, I mow the lawn, I do all this, you know, the stuff that I don't get to do out here. But I know that they need help. And
You hear that, ladies? You hear that? He's a good guy.
here we go.
Wait, okay, so are you single?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
why don't you just tell the ladies, like, what is your type of girl?
Listen, yeah.
Listen.
Like, listen.
I mean, they're right over there. Look them right in the eye.
Listen,
and
I'm gonna tell you the greatest way to explain it is when Jay-Z said, "Tall, kind of short, thick, kind of tall, light, kind of dark. I swear I love them all." I mean, to me, like I can find beauty in any woman. So to me, it's about like I'll know it when I feel it / see it, not necessarily like, oh, she has to be this and this. And
Count on him, though, to give us all compliments.
I mean,
He's really sweet about that. I'm just being real. Again, ladies listening, he is the kind of guy that's like, wow, you look really beautiful today. It's like, well, thanks.
I mean, you know.
I mean, you know.
Hey, I'm just trying to help you out. You know,
appreciate
wingman
that.
here.
Here we go. Yeah, listen to her.
Well, I mean, I know you're single now, too, so why don't you tell us about the kind of men you like? Ooh, someone got quiet.
No, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm the same way. I just like people who challenge me, who elevate me, who are positive, who know where they want to go, attractive, who like to dance with me because I like to dance.
Yeah,
I dance all the time. And someone who's not afraid to be goofy with me. Also, laughing is very important. I have laugh tattooed on my arm because it's that important.
Oh, wow. Nick, you've got your phone up. Looks like you might have some questions.
Yeah, because there's a couple of people that literally just tweeted. This lady, Kelly Donetz. Hope I'm saying that correctly. This one is for Taylor. What is your favorite or weirdest part about watching yourself every week? And McKinley, you can answer this too.
I have to be honest, I do not like watching myself at all. I'm like, why did I do that with my mouth? What is my eye doing? That was a bad choice. I'm the worst critic. That's why it's like when other people say these things, I don't even, like, I can't read into it because I'm already like, you're right. You know, so I agree. I don't have a favorite. I guess it's cool to be like, well, I did that. I'm on it. But that's probably it. I don't like watching myself at all.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was kind of a boring response, but
No,
it's
it's
the truth.
honest, and I'm the exact same way. I get a little. I'm glad, like as a group, we've been pretty consistent about watching the show together on Mondays, and that's good for me because it's like if I'm by myself, I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see this.
Thinking
man.
way too much.
Yo, I'm like, I try to avoid it. TV. I'm like, you know what? Let me go do some work. But when we watch it together, I get to see my castmates' amazing work, so I can get an opportunity for me to see them and tell Taylor how great a job she's doing, or like it's like a family thing. So it's like I don't have to pay attention to what I'm doing, which is important. You know what I mean? But it's definitely to me, I always get a little bit nervous before the show comes on. So
The whole time.
yeah, I did. Let's just call it the whole time. I'm nervous. I'm like sitting down, I'm walking around, I'm like outside, like So I don't know.
So is there ever a scene that comes on, you're like, why did they put that in there?
Yeah, or I'm like, or even sometimes I thought that I did that one better, and it's like, well, they decided that was the one. So.
Yeah, it's always interesting, like the takes that they use, and I think that's an important lesson. Is like sometimes you just don't know what you're doing, and maybe that's the best thing. It's like you don't want to be monitoring yourself doing something else. Like other people are like, you got to trust that they know what they're doing, and they trust that you know what you're doing, and you hope it works.
Or you think you're doing something and then you're not, because obviously you can't be objective with yourself. But then when you watch it, you're like, oh, that's why the director said to do that, because the other choice would have looked stupid or whatever.
No, absolutely.
So Nick, do you have any?
It's a great tip for actors watching right now. It's a good tip. I have another question. Yeah.
Go for it.
This is from Mrs. and Jeanette.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hopefully I'm saying this right. This is for both of you, again, for Taylor and for McKinley. If you two can switch roles with someone else on the show, who would it be?
Man,
That's a good
good question.
That is.
Go ahead.
Can I give that one some thought? You go ahead.
All right, let's see how that works. Man, I would either be, if I had to be a different kind of, I would say maybe Elena. Because I feel like I feel
Okay.
I was gonna say Derek, and then I was like, wait, does that work?
The other fetish we were talking
Jello.
about?
No, I mean,
Farm animals?
So here's the thing. I mean, I think a character is basically a specific way of seeing the world, right? So like the way she sees it is completely different than the way everybody else sees it.
Yeah.
And I think the way Derek sees it and the way that Kyle see it, that was going to be my other answer. It's they kind of have I'm going to go for what I know. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Love it or hate it. Just keep watching,
Yeah.
But I think Yelena is very. This is chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I would pick Kyle because obviously she brings a lot of comedic relief to these serious, dark situations, and obviously no one can do her role better than her. But I think it would be fun because she, as much as she's manipulative and like uses her sexuality.
Here we go. We'll get one.
Come on, college. She is smart about it. She knows what she's doing. She has a goal, a purpose. There's a reason.
You would have an accent?
Absolutely. That'd be so much fun.
Now, here's a question that I have, because I feel that both of you guys' characters have really good lines, because there's just a couple lines in every episode that you're like, okay. Kyle, she has some good lines too. But, the Roman Emperor has had, I would have to say, the most lines this season that are memorable more than any other character.
I know she liked cold shower for me that I think I do remember. Oh, she's got water in her mouth. But I think again, props to the writers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good stuff in there.
So what has been your favorite line that you've had?
Man.
I know.
There's two. One, again, talking about what we just talked about in terms of like not knowing what is happening and not self-censoring yourself. There's a conversation that I have with Asha last week. Is I'll be the best mistake you've ever made, but if not, I'll change it. Like that to me is like. Yeah. I think like how many people have been in that situation and wish they could articulate exactly how they felt that succinctly, like me. Okay. The other one I would say is the ho 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 line.
Yeah.
What one were you thinking about?
You want me to dance? I'll dance for you.
Yeah, that's my favorite line. Like it was so hard for me not to laugh when we did that because she was like, Yeah, but I would say between those two. But there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of
red
really
headline.
Cool. Oh yeah.
I need a redhead.
Yeah, I see you over there, muscles. I see you. Oh yeah. You put that water down over.
Oh, and she can dance.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was dancing with her on Saturday. She's a dancer.
Yeah. Here we go.
So,
She can shake it, but don't break it.
Shake it, but don't break it.
What about you, Taylor? What has been your like line that you're like, oh my God, this is it? Because you've had a couple with the cell phone.
where do I even begin?
You get the rocks off today.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was, I was like,
What's that line? Can you repeat? Because I missed what was said. Yes, get into mode.
you're on the, or I don't remember.
What?
You just want to get your rocks off or whatever.
Yeah.
I just remember being like, I'm saying this, my mom would literally cut my head off if I really said this in real life, even if she was doing what Sloan was. Favorite line? I don't know.
I mean, you've got like 9 episodes worth, so you can just. There's a lot, though. I mean, you do have a lot.
I think actually I'll go back to the pilot just because. Actually, yeah, I'll go back to the pilot. It was surreal when Pete Davenport was going to kick me out of practice. I don't know if you guys remember the pilot, but he was going to kick me out of practice, and I was like, "Can I just?" And everyone's like, "What?" And I'm like, "All I've ever wanted to be was a Devil Girl, and being here, having the stadium on its feet, like I'm saying this whole thing, and." For me, it was like relating to me wanting this my whole life, like being on a show and living it out. So I was saying it from such a real, like, I was like begging. It was like as if I was begging who was going to give me this job. You know, I was relating at the same time. Like, I remember I was crying a few times saying it because I'm like, just my stakes and I always give myself the most ridiculous stakes, by the way. It's really not healthy. But I'm like, if I didn't get this, if I didn't have this, like, I would die. Like, that's how. So I just remember that feeling of like I'm here right now, and like my dream is just to have the stadium on its feet, and my dream is to one day, you know, win an Oscar and have the stadium. You know, so it was cool.
One of my favorite lines that she has was, "I'm sure your phone has herpes."
Yeah.
that was funny. Yeah. Yo.
So, speaking of stadiums, we do kind of have to wrap it up a little bit. I want to get into news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
And the reason I say stadiums is because I want to go back to this basketball game that we've been notoriously speaking of online. So if I can get our engineer to pick up, we have a few pictures that I took and I tweeted out. So
It was hard to watch. It was tough. It was.
I was cheering both of you guys on, and I don't know where these pictures are, but either way, if not, you can definitely catch it next week. I think we're going to air it
Just give me
sometime
one
on.
sec.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Pardon me.
I got this.
Well then, okay. Oh, okay. I didn't see that picture. But
I threw that in for
okay,
you.
so Nick made it.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I'm pretty sure that was an air ball. Oh,
That's
see?
what I said.
He was trying to blame it.
Nothing says I'm ready for the game like a Bud Light.
He was trying to blame it on the alcohol.
But look at the form.
Look at the form. I'll give you props.
Oh, but then he made a shot.
And why is his shirt off? Okay. Like,
When is Rob's shirt
Oh,
not
and then
off?
he's talking smack. You can see that he's kind of like.
I was super tired. I'm not gonna lie. You could tell. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way too intense, and it was hot. You guys were like,
And then that's the last picture after Rob kicked his butt. It was
Man.
quite awesome. So yeah, there's definitely more footage of that. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll have some teasers going on.
It's
for
all
that.
right, man. You lose some and you lose some more. So
hey, I'm
You're a winner in my heart, Nick.
I appreciate the passion, though, man. That's all right. You're a man of your word. I appreciate it.
Oh, with all those pictures in basketball, I actually had a picture. I didn't get to talk about it, but I do have a picture of you playing basketball that I found. And hopefully Steven can pull that up. But while that's going on, just random fact, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'd read that your show is the #1 rated show in its time slot right now.
Yeah.
Congrats.
You know how we do.
Oh, there we go. Literally.
That would be me.
Yeah.
The one time I got in the game.
I will say this, and I mean this with all the compliments in the world, but you actually in person look so much more younger than in that picture.
I don't know. I thank my parents for that. Like when I was growing up, I would get my mom and my older sister confused because they looked alike. Like if you saw my mom, you'd be like, okay, wait a second, like, is that your sister? So hey.
Black don't crack.
Hey. I mean, I'm glad you said it because I didn't want to.
Man, you could have said it. You could have said it.
I didn't. I mean,
We live in different times now.
We have the teaser for it too, if you want to see that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, let's watch more of Nick getting embarrassed.
The teaser for
Nick
Basketball
getting,
game.
Nick getting,
Man,
we put in work for this.
Yeah.
This is okay. Just,
Oh my
just
gosh.
roll the clip.
I love that.
I got 6'10". I got quick hands and I got big feet. I got the old man YMCA. Old man YMCA. This is 6'2", 200 coming at you.
And that's okay.
Like a freight train. I'm like the Larry Johnson. It'll be like, oh hey, and you'll be hitting. It's on.
That's great.
Man.
So yeah.
wow,
I
who
talk a
edited
great
that?
game.
That was just great.
Hey, I said AfterBuzz TV. You know.
There we go.
Wow.
That's what's up.
I talk a great game.
Larry Johnson of Encino.
If only you could play
It's
one
a
as
very
well as you talk.
specific role, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to play basketball. I was the
Aw.
only girl on my YMCA basketball team.
Get it.
I'm proud of it to this day.
Oh.
It's got a sick crossover.
And I want to get
Hey.
into. I also want to get into some of your guys' predictions really quick too, because there's going to be a
sick.
lot going on next season. So I won't ask you about next episode because obviously you guys can't talk about. But what do you guys predict or want to see happen for season 2?
Man, I would like there to be more episodes. I would like to figure out. There's so many questions. Like I would like
Oh.
to figure out what.
But we don't know what's going to happen to ourselves.
This is,
But that's the point. It's a prediction. It's a guess. Where would you like to see it to go?
Would you like to be alive next season?
Elena,
That's a tough question.
I was like,
This is
Elena?
probably the most boring answer you've ever had in the history of AfterBuzz TV, but it's hard to answer that question because you have
that
no
everyone
idea.
resurrects and lands on Jupiter.
I mean, you could say that I hope that Derek and Asha fall madly in love with each other. You can say I hope that German works his way back to. I mean,
Well, I hope that I hope this is such a bad answer. I'm so sorry, Muscles. I know you're always flexing. I see you have your arms on the desk. Like, why is she flexing right now? That's the strongest cup ever. But yeah, I'm sorry. The predictions. That's just a hard one. But I would love to see. There's so many different backstories that we've learned up to this point. That it would be cool to get more insight into why. I mean, like I said, I did when I did. I think it was the Black Hollywood Live thing I did a while back. I was talking about how, when you see somebody's behavior, you see their behavior, but you don't understand the context of it. And I think if you take that as a framework and stamp it on every character, I mean, there's lots of things happening. And I think as the second season comes along, episode 10 has to happen, and from there's going to be so many questions. And I think that in itself is going to provide the framework for the next season. So that's my long-winded, I can't answer that question, but I'll try to answer the best I can without you hurting me when we get finished.
Taylor.
I don't have any because I don't know the fate.
More dancing.
Okay, yeah, that's a good prediction.
Thank you.
You know what? And since you jumped in, I'm just gonna let you tell us your prediction.
Oh, for next episode?
Next episode.
All right. Here's what's gonna happen. I don't even know, but all right. Let's say Olivia and Sloan. They're gonna duke it out.
Is she gonna hit her?
Yeah, never been more certain about anything in my life.
Okay, just checking.
These guys are gonna get together finally, possibly, and then Pete Davenport's gonna have a really bad drinking problem. She just broke his heart. He's gonna go back to the sauce.
I mean, okay. So Nick, what's your prediction?
You have one good, amazing dance. There is going to be a fight again. Like you said, there's going to be a fight.
Your reach across the
You
table
saw that?
is like infinity.
How did you not block any shots? with that
I
reach?
did block a shot. We can watch the video. I did block a shot. Rob knows I blocked. But no,
Yeah, that's a great prediction.
just watch next week.
I don't know if I can top that.
Watch next week. That's my dancing and watch next week.
Okay. You know what? Let's just go on to Layla's prediction.
Oh man, I'm gonna go just out there. I think that Oscar's gonna give the ownership of the Double Girls to Yelena, with
Really?
that envelope thing, and I think Olivia's gonna be out of being in charge of the Double Girls.
I mean, you've been pretty good with the predictions so far, so I don't know. This is what I think is going to happen. Okay, we saw Derek kind of cut Asha off, right? But I think that's like reverse psychology. Maybe it was plotted that way, or maybe not so much. But it's one of those things when you're used to someone chasing after you, and all of a sudden they're like, "Peace." You're kind of like, "But wait, I'm just used to you following me." So I think that's gonna yeah, right. So I think she's gonna turn around and I don't know, maybe she'll confess her undying love to him. As much as I really don't want that to happen. I'm just kidding.
Wait. Somebody give me a redhead.
Oh, wait, hold on.
How convenient is that? Well, there you are.
Anyways, okay, so that wraps up today's show. But before we leave, can you guys first leave your Twitter handles as she kicks her?
That was for James, by the way.
Oh.
James, that was for you.
At McKinley Freeman.
Okay.
At Taylor Page with a U, TAYLOUR, PAIGE.
And Layla.
It's at Layla627.
You can find me all over the internet at the Nick Purdue.
Find me, Mark E. Allen.
And you can follow me. I'm Alikona Bradford at Kiss My Passport. So again, thank you guys for tuning in for an amazing episode.
Great season,
Hit the
y'all.
Floor and AfterBuzz. We will see you guys next time.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.